In our top stories. The third meeting of the Lake Chad Governors Forum has opened in Yaoundé, Cameroon, with focus on regional cooperation and stabilization, peace building and sustainable development. And in spite of the ban imposed by the administrative authorities on bikes to stop circulating in Bali subdivision, northwest region of Cameroon, bike riders have defied this decision and have since been transporting passengers to neighboring towns and villages. Those were major stories. Details right ahead. In spite of the ban by ministry imposed by administrative authorities on bikes to stop circulating in Bali subdivision, the northwest region of Cameroon, bike riders have defied the decision and have been transporting passengers to neighboring towns and villages. But on the other hand, activities of drivers have remained grounded in spite to the ban imposed by separatist fighters. Gladys Ambodibank tells us more.
Though the 3 months prefectural ban on the circulation of motorbikes in Bali subdivision still has 16 days to end, motorcycles had at long resumed plying the route through Bali to other towns and villages. But the senior divisional officer for Mezam, author of the July 20th prefectural order, has been turning a blind eye, probably under the infamous administrative tolerance. On the other hand, separatist fighters who equally banned the circulation of vehicles are still glued to their position. As a result, it is the common man paying the price. The transport fare on a bike from the 43 kilometers distance from Bamenda to Batibo, for example, that used to cost 1,000 CFA francs is now 5,000 francs CFA, and even more for those with luggage, for obvious Cameroonian reasons.
You carry small capo, they ask money, the one that when you carry small petrol, before you settle Bali for police, settle company, at least before you remember that you carry petrol for 15 times, you get 5 times in pocket.
Motorcycles have virtually replaced cars in the transportation of persons and goods, thereby leaving drivers at the mercy of bike riders.
The road is blocked. It is only the Okada people that are applying the road. So when we come to the park, we normally beg from them. Even though we're the one applying the road before, but we beg from them to eat. If they load 2 passengers on their bikes, we collect 500 each.
With roads virtually left to them alone, the riders travel at breakneck speed to do as many rounds as passengers and goods are available. With the administration and separatist standoff negatively affecting this all commercially important route, the population is prayerfully awaiting the expiration of the 3-month ban and counterban.
After Boya, Cameroon's Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Dion Ngute will be in Bamenda this week for a mission to consolidate peace for the population of that part of the country. His visit to the Northwest region starts on Tuesday. According to the official program, the second day of his visit will be marked by a public meeting at the ceremonial ground at Commercial Avenue before a working session with stakeholders from Boya Division on the follow-up of the recommendations of the Major National Dialogue. The next, the Prime Minister will hold another follow-up meeting with delegates from other divisions of the Northwest region, as well as representatives of transporter syndicates and trade unions, representatives of businessmen, women's group, youth group, and the Bororo community. The PM's visit to the Northwest region is coming 2 weeks after he carried out the same mission to the Southwest region, where he came back with proposals from the various delegations. The paramount chief of Bambalang in the Ngokitunja Northwest region of Cameroon, His Royal Highness von Kiveng Shimonthang II, has urged his subjects to be ambassador of peace. Honored von Kiveng Shimonthang II, who also wears the cap of the president of the Northwest House of Chiefs and vice president of the Northwest Regional Council, was speaking to subjects here in Cameroon's economic capital Douala over the weekend. More in the following story. Even as his subjects are far from home, caused by the degenerating crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, His Royal Majesty Fon of Bambalang, Ngokitunja Division, the northwest region of Cameroon, is disturbed on the state of mind of his people. Visiting his subjects in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, October 2, His Royal Majesty Fon Kelvin Shomitang II brought a message of peace and reconciliation.
The objective of this visit is to rally the population for peace building and reconciliation and, engage them to be ambassadors of peace whenever and wherever they find themselves within the Republic of Cameroon, within their families, within their schools, within their workplaces.
Another disturbing problem is the increasing number of internally displaced persons struggling for survival.
It's a question of the Anglophone community. And I think in the days ahead, we're going to engage to be able to look at the situation of IDPs. But first, our primordial wish is for a return to normalcy.
We try to give them lodging, give them some food to eat, and then try to look for job for those who are strong enough and could ride these bikes. We bought motorbikes, we gave them to use maybe on balance and take. People who had money assisted, and with time, a lot of them.
The gathering in Douala attracted sons and daughters who expressed the needs for peace to return in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon so they could go back home. Focus was also on how to identify projects that could spur up development back home and make the Bambalang man outstanding. Traditional dance groups graced the occasion, with many expressing the wish to have constant exchanges with their phone on burning issues affecting them and the country at large. The role of the journalists in sensitizing the population on knowing their genotype before getting married so that they could have healthy babies has been underscored. This was during a meeting of the Douala branch of the Cameroon Association of English-Speaking Journalists, met over the weekend, where experts drilled them on how they could battle or fight against sickle cell disease. More in the following story with Gladys Ambo Zibang.
An estimated 300,000 affected babies are born each year with sickle cell disease around the world, with more than 80% of them in Africa. Cameroon counts 9% of these patients, while those with the AS trait stand at 22.3%. While schooling journalists on sickle cell disease at the professional corner of the monthly meeting of the Douala branch of the Cameroon Association of English-Speaking Journalists, this October 3, 2021, Dr. Kifem Vincentia said the disease is common in Africa because it is a malaria endemic zone.
Sickle cell are resistant to malaria, so people who are carriers are resistant to, who are carriers of sickle cell disease are resistant to malaria. So it was a kind of an adaptation that our system had to make to fight against malaria. So that's why sickle cell disease is very common in Africa.
While 75% or more of newborns with sickle cell disease die before their 5th birthday, Dr. Kifem emphasized that with adequate follow-up, affected babies can live to adulthood.
These children, they can actually live long. They can live beyond 21 years, contrary to what people think if they are well taken care of. It's true they do experience crisis, but with adequate medical follow-up, they can be able to live near normal lives.
Ashu Egbe is a conqueror. He has lived with sickle cell disease for 55 years and is counting. What is his secret?
Well, it's all about the discipline. If you are disciplined, you can stay away from crisis. That stands to avoid extreme temperatures. drinking a lot of water, being hydrated, staying away from infections, malaria. So once you do this and you have regular and routine checkup, follow up, you can live long.
Sickle cell disease is a group of inherited red blood cell disorder that affects hemoglobin, the protein that carries oxygen to the body. It is a lifelong illness, reason why couples are advised to know their genotypes before getting married to avoid having sickle cell babies.
And the city of Sangilima in the south region of Cameroon will be having well-equipped referral hospital with quality medical services, major disclosures or declarations by the Minister of Public Health during a visit to the site. As we end the following story with Saleh Sherifa.
Henceforth, the Sangilima population will have a qualified, well-equipped reference hospital. This will follow after the special visit made by the Minister of Health, Malauda Malachi, this weekend with donation from the head of state.
Appuyez-vous sur les principes de collaboration, d'échange, d'écoute attentive et surtout de considération de l'ensemble des personnels qui sont mis à vos côtés pour vous accompagner.
The reference hospital will be equipped with qualified health care where the population will have access at affordable prices, as wanted by the head of state. Dr. Dominic Noa is aware of the task ahead of him as the incoming director of the reference hospital. I thank the head of state and his government for the confidence placed in me by promoting me and giving me this post. The staff now say they are ready to put in their best. Everything that the head of state expects from this hospital, let it be done according to his will. The population that came in large numbers to discover the new director from Cliquez under the beautiful weather are overwhelmed and are hoping for a better tomorrow.
The third meeting of the Lake Chad Governors Forum has opened in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, with a focus on regional cooperation and stabilization, peace building, and sustainable development, chaired by Cameroon's Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Dion Ngouté. The Yaoundé come together is an occasion to evaluate the engagement of the member states in the fight against Boko Haram and other related conflicts affecting the Lake Chad Basin. Details in the following story.
International partners, critical stakeholders, like regional bodies sustaining the forum by governors around the Lake Chad Basin to counter the Boko Haram insurgency and other conflicts are of the opinion it is time for radical action.
We are in the season of warfare, high-level crisis. We must go high and go big and bold to be able to win the battle, whether it is COVID-19, climate change, or extreme violence.
After 2018, when it all started, to 2019, and 2 years later, 2021, need for civil-military coordination.
Improving civil-military coordination is a priority for the next phase of the RSS, taking into consideration that there is still a difficult humanitarian situation for IDPs and refugees in the region.
The human and material impact goes with resources drained also.
Since 2014, the European Union has invested more than 1 billion euros in the 8 border regions of Lake Chad.
This Yaoundé rendezvous is to consolidate effective mechanism for regional stabilization recovery.
Being closest to the affected people, governors are better placed to serve as agents of regional integration through enhanced regional communication networks, cross-border trade and cross-border dialogue like the one we are having here in Yaoundé today.
The Adamawa state in Nigeria is one of the affected.
Apart from the Boko Haram insurgency, Adamawa state is also faced with the kidnapping that is rampant in Nigeria. We are very confident that participating in this meeting will open our eyes.
Opening the Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum this Monday, the Prime Minister of Cameroon calls for reinforced commitment.
It is important, beyond the military approach, to address the root causes as well as the consequences of the crisis in the Lake Chad Basin.
with focus on regional cooperation and stabilization, peace building and sustainable development. The forum, which is face-to-face and visual, is to respond to the plight of the affected population, stabilize the zone.
And that report brings us to the end of this edition of Newscast on Canal, the International. Thanks so much for watching. But don't go away, we'll have news in the French language coming up at exactly 7:50. This never sank out with Aimé Catherine Mukuri. Coming up next is the brief with Buban Governor. As for me, I'll be back tomorrow for another edition. Good night.